Good morning, Jim. Can you hear us? There. Look, I figured it out. I'm so excited.
You get a gold star.
Yeah, hear him.
Well, you will when he talks.
He did talk.
I can hear you. I can't see anybody, but I can hear you.
Okay, well, we're here. We are Dina and Ben and Judy and David. And since you are on bright and early, we will let you know that although we had said we would talk about and approve or disapprove the aggregation plan for CPCNH or whatever the alphabet soup is of the day, we're not prepared to do that, but we will be meeting again next week. Or what is an alternative? We could all look at it and let Dina know how we feel about it. And she could let you know so that we try not to hold you up. But it's pretty legalese, and I know for my part, I just really don't understand it. So I am hesitant to approve something that I don't understand at all. I don't know, David, did you want to?
I'll understand it, but I think, but I just need to read it again, and I haven't had a chance to do that in the last week.
Okay, well, I'll sign off and wait to hear from you. But again, Judy, if there's anything the committee can do, or CPCNH to come over and you know, help you better understand it. Obviously, that's key. So let us know how we can help.
Okay, very good. And I do apologize. We're not purposefully dragging this on. We know there is a time constraint and we will get to it as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, that's number one. Let's jump right into a discussion of the tax rate.
Oh, yes, please.
We did get notice that they have set the tax rate, the state has, at $26.20. That is per thousand.
Mhm.
And one of the things we know is that we have the ability to take some of our fund balance, which is pretty restricted what it can be used for, but one of the things is to help buy down, if you will, the tax rate. We presently have $801,000 in that fund. The state recommends you have 17%. We presently have 6.53% of our total. And so we can draw down as much as we want. The state recommends that we not go beyond 5%, which is $613, 992.
Excuse me.
Bless you. I think Dina sent some information out to us, which showed that if we use $300,000 of our fund balance, leaving us with $500,000, that would bring the tax rate from 26.20 down to 25.47. Here, you want to see this one? That's it, right there. Yep.
Mhm.
What was it last year? 26 something?
2398. This is a
This is your fault.
9.6.
This is your
Sure,
fault.
I'm sure it's my fault.
9.26.
A
9.26.
9.26
Yeah.
increase.
Yeah,
But then like last year, it was a 9% decrease, right?
Right. See, that's what happens when you have a revow.
And that's because it was a
And
rebound.
that
So
was the result.
The decrease in rate is kind of meaningless last year because.
Right.
It was a result of, right.
so if typically, if there is a typically, we would have seen this year's tax rate maybe go to 24 or something, or 25 in the low 25s. It should have stayed low-ish, but it didn't.
So what is that what is the fund that we're using to buy down this rate otherwise used for? And why does the state want us to have 3 times what we have in it now?
Well, actually, that's the maximum recommended. They can't tell you what to have in there. We've had years before where actually I looked back and we had 100 and something thousand in there because it had been
There
used.
were years that were over $1 million.
Yeah,
And then there's years where there's,
Yeah.
exactly. I remember having lots of conversations with Dick Jones because
he
he
doesn't like,
really likes it to be as high as it can be.
Well,
And
what's
I'm
it
like,
for?
well, it's like a safety net, and that's what I kept telling him.
Well,
This is like a
it's an
savings.
emergency fund. You can pay legal bills. It can
That's
draw,
all.
it can help draw down
Yeah.
the taxes.
Yeah, let's say you had a year where,
Well, we're not
You
gonna have
had-
$1 million of
let's-
legal bills, probably.
No, I don't think so, but we have had years where we've had 150,000. We should let Dina tell you.
no, I was just gonna say that if you have for some reason, you have a whole bunch of people that come into town and they need financial aid through overseer of the welfare, and we only have $30,000 in that account, and it ends up being $500,000. Well, that's where you would take that money from. Or if you get sued, you lose the suit, you have to pay a damage or whatever,
And we don't have
That's-
insurance.
and it's not covered by insurance, that's where you would have to take the money from. But I will tell you, in the 23 years I've worked here, we have only used that fund to lower tax rates. We've never used it in all the years I've been
Okay, I think.
in an
Where does the money
emergency.
come from?
Leftover years. Every year
So
we have
if-
anything
If
left
we
over.
have 20,000 left over at the end of the year, it goes in there. We can't, in our operating budget.
Yeah.
We can't spend it, we can't carry it over.
Right,
We can spend it before we get to the end.
Yes, we certainly can.
And
And we
and we
usually
do.
spend.
are we gonna have
some of it.
leftover this year? We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
I don't
Don't
know
know what
yet.
we spend before we.
We're gonna try and.
well,
buy
you don't
few
make a
things.
mad dash to buy all kinds of
No,
stuff.
I
But
don't
if
make a
there's
mad dash to
something-
buy anything, but
Right.
there are requests.
But if there's
Yeah.
something you
Pop up.
need, that's right.
Right, yep, like the.
Like a new printer for the office.
The one thing, a new printer for the
We
office.
did that last year.
Oh, Yes, we
But-
did. We did do
But
that last year.
this year, we have a request for a $10,000 piece of equipment.
Yeah.
The
The
fancy blower,
yeah.
Or what?
the blower,
It's the roadside.
Oh,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
to clean out the ditches and the
9,600, right.
culverts.
Oh my God, I lost my train of thought.
You,
I'm just concerned that a 9.26% increase is a lot.
yep,
I also was just thinking. The school,
yeah, we,
well, of course, the school unfortunately they're not all to blame, but that's where the chunk of the increase has come from. And I had Jordan do a spreadsheet, but I don't know that it's even in here. I don't think it is. Oh, yeah, it is.
Well, we
this is
can
not the
send it
right one, but
out.
either way, I was just wondering what the increase was last year for the school. But I can't remember. But the one thing is, they changed the rule for the school, they can carry over. And I wonder if they're not,
they
anyways,
can carry over without voting to carry it over, they can just carry it over.
they can, I thought they could save it and use it to lower the tax rate, but no, they can't, never mind.
Why is the increase for the school so significant this year?
It's
Well, it's
significant
last year's
every
budget,
year.
it's behind, but they had an increase of whatever their
It was like
budgetary
8%.
increase, it was at least 8%.
Yeah,
if not more.
8.5.
Why?
They
I don't
needed
know,
it.
you'd have to ask them.
They needed it. And got voted.
We
So
don't have
that
any say
affects
about that,
this.
but,
No,
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is affecting this.
you know, I get that. I'm
Increase.
just trying to understand why they would have an 8% increase.
Well,
I don't know, they had program changes, they had staffing changes, they.
I suspect they're gonna have a big whopper
they-
this year.
I think they still are doing a lot of, repairs, significant repairs. And, yeah, like this year they've got the asbestos remediation and they've got the solar panels that aren't really working and they've got something else that isn't, is it the furnace? I can't remember, but, between the school and the town, this year we are at a 9.26 increase in the tax rate. I know, I feel certain to say that Dina and probably a good number of people in the town would like to see 300, maybe 350 by
And what's the
use.
total amount in our,
801,939 in our fund balance.
well, that's okay with me. Maybe we don't have anything to say about it, but if the school is, spending money like crazy, we ought to tell them to stop it.
Well, this year I suspect that the budget committee will be working hard to hold them at a,
Oh, so the budget committee
Reasonable
does
rate.
have some input on school spending.
Yes,
setting the
And
budget.
look, you can always spend money. I mean, we make,
we could spend a lot of money.
I know,
I've said, I'm dyslexic, so schools didn't help me a lot. And I've always said, this concept that money makes better grades or better students, it's not true.
it's definitely not.
It is false.
No, it depends on the student and the,
But sure, a mother equates to,
well,
Well, yeah.
if it's a program,
It's great
Yes.
spending other people's money.
it
but
is. It's very hard, and I've been really struggling because I think the town classically has shaved its budgets to kind of counter
yeah, we've done it lots of years.
many times. And I'm looking at the budget this year and I'm thinking, there are things we need and people we need to take care of. And I was talking with Dina and I said, a 3% COLA increase to the wages doesn't cover the 7% of cost for food. So
Yeah.
if you give people a 3% increase, they're losing out. And when we get there, I'd like to see us give our guys a little more money. But anyway, if we can focus on this.
Well, I'm okay with 300,000 if that's what we think we ought to do.
So 300,000 gives
Just hope nobody sues us.
down to, well,
They
where do you
can't
have
sue you.
2547.
That still gives you a 6.21 increase in the tax rate, but
What takes us to below?
nothing, you don't have enough money to take you back to what you were. Is that what you're talking about
Yeah.
last year?
No, not to where
Oh.
we were, but.
Well, you have
under
these-
26.
You can do a 350,000 takes you to
5.7%.
5.7%, $25.35. But
Right.
that
I'd
gives
be
you,
in favor of that.
you would even,
It looks like a considerable bigger number than 26.
hold on. So, because I can't do this in my head. Like some people can, 801,939 minus what, 350, 350,123. Leaves us with 451,
Right.
939.
You can certainly live with that. Or you should be able to.
Are you
Well,
okay?
Considering we haven't had the issues in 23 years, Tina's experience.
Well,
Yeah.
you never know. You just never
but
know.
still,
but-
You never know, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Because I think we're probably looking at, well, when we get to the budget, we'll talk about I think
And
we're
when you
looking
get
at
to the
legal.
budget committee in the school, squeeze them.
We squeezed pretty hard last year, but then it didn't stick.
Correct. And the budget committee and the select board can squeeze all they want, and then when they get to district meeting, and they might put it all back in, but
Just look at
District meeting?
school district.
So the school votes on their budget the Thursday before town meeting.
So what if,
And there are usually like 50 people there.
so what if we don't approve it?
Doesn't matter.
the Board of Selectmen has nothing to do with approving the school budget. You need the school district meeting to vote it down.
I remember
The
good
budget
old
committee
days.
does though. I
Yes,
mean, the budget committee is the one that sends the budget, well, to the town, well, into the school.
into the school.
Yeah, so if they don't approve it, then that usually raises some red flags for people. There's more discussions, but it generally still gets passed.
It gets put in.
Yeah,
I remember the good old days, that when if Gerald Hughes showed up at a school district meeting, it was going down.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, the good old
And
days.
they took some of them down.
Who was that other guy that used to stand up and give
Who's
that
that?
big procrastination?
Oh,
I
Oh,
mean, not
the one who was a
Buzzell.
veteran?
Yeah.
Buzzell.
Oh, Glenn
That's what it
Buzzell,
was, yeah.
yes.
And then Edith Jenks. Oh, God, I miss those good old
And
days.
then there was the guy, oh, he always started, he prefaced what he was gonna say with he was a veteran. And then he would be against whatever it was,
Mhm.
and
Oh, I wonder, I don't remember.
I remember him from the 80s. I don't, he's not in town, I don't even know if he's still alive. But,
I remember Merle, we used to go to all the town meetings, grade school. Merle Bailey would stand up there and she audited the budget. I mean, she audited it. And she said, I noticed you were off by 50 cents.
Yeah,
And I wanna know where that 50 cents went.
God, it's like.
I
getting your checkbook.
appreciate what she's saying.
Okay, so,
I'm trying to get good at rounding and not worrying about a few dollars, but
yes,
it's hard.
I know Kevin used to drive you nuts.
I know.
We are at the 350 mark. To draw down the tax rate from 26.20 to 25.35, which is a 5.71 increase. Is that correct? We have concurrence on that.
Mhm.
Okay, Dina,
Yes, ma'am.
350.
Whoa, I'm excited. Might give Dick a heart attack, but
I thought you would
Tina,
be.
if
He'll
we
be all
were ever
right.
to be in a situation where we needed to use those funds for something else and we didn't have them, what would our alternative be in that case?
to have a special town meeting to raise and appropriate the funds.
You can always get money.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah.
So if there were an emergency,
Yeah,
okay.
We just closed down Route 10 in Little Toll.
I was gonna say, we'll just close the town. I'm kidding. I shouldn't,
but.
I shouldn't be flippant. I'm not being flippant, sorry. But I just think a 9.26 increase just.
Well, it certainly shows you that COLA isn't always the perfect predictor.
Well, then the other thing is, I mean, you can't look at it in isolation. It was a 9% increase, a decrease last year, so over a 2-year period, even if we did nothing, the tax rate would essentially be flat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that actually is using the fund balance, and if you talk to Mike Smith, you know, he was on the budget committee
Oh,
forever.
ever and ever.
And his goal with capital reserve funds and with this, with the fund balance, was to keep it as level as you could.
Yeah, slight increases,
Very
but not
right,
the
right.
sharp
Right,
increase or the sharp drop.
right.
Yeah, well, we have a federal government that's printing money like crazy, and so we have
Oh,
inflation. and
right,
Nothing we can do about that.
right. So
Okay.
somebody's gonna make a motion and vote.
Oh,
on
we
this.
had consensus. Do you want a motion?
Yeah,
An actual
please.
motion,
We vote on everything because we get in trouble if we don't.
I'll move that we
David?
appropriate $350,000 from the fund balance to be used to buy down the tax rate to $25.35.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye,
Then
David, I.
and Judy, aye. That's approved.
Thank you.
All right, that's a good bit of
Can't
business.
believe Rich Brown didn't get that on video.
There is, right here. Jordan's listening.
Okay,
we can
Don't
edit.
talk- Don't talk bad about Jordan.
We can edit this one.
yeah. Okay, that's that. I'm gonna put it
Aha.
here. All right, that's that piece of work. We've
Get
done
rid of this.
the tax rate.
Yes, yay, thank you. That's a huge relief.
Um. We want. We want to talk about the assessing bid review and discussion. Possible multi-year contract.
Why not?
Did we award? We didn't award it last time.
You did not. You
So,
took it home to review it.
yep, so. Let's just jump right
We
in.
only had one applicant. I think
That's
it. Do a multi-year contract.
Okay,
I don't like that contract a lot, and
We don't have to have that contract. We can write a different one.
yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
make some changes to it, like, there's particularly provisions in there, the provision that relates to termination for cause. Only allows us to terminate for cause if he or one of his team steals money.
Right,
okay,
Whereas I can think of a lot of other bad things that someone might do
Right.
that would want you to, that would
Right.
cause you to want to terminate the agreement
well, also, it has to be written so that it is contingent on you have to have an escape clause. So if you're doing a multi-year contract, we have to write in there has to be something written in there that says that we can just
we can cancel it. with
cancel the
notice.
contract with, 60 days notice or
So
something
can we
like that.
send it to our
I think
legal counsel?
Naomi, right, I
and
think I
have
would
them-
send it to Naomi and have her
Okay.
tweak it. To
Sure.
have
So
in
Ben
there.
moved a multi-year contract. Do I hear a
why do you
second?
want a multi?
How many multi-years?
Huh?
Do you want 2 years, 3
Well,
years?
because we go through this every year and sometimes it's contentious and I don't see any problem other than, the year they were doing their petition, I felt that was largely arbitrary, their arguments that they weren't. I didn't see anything there of substance that would cause us to get rid of it.
So I'll second Ben's motion for multi-year contract, either a 2-year or 3-year.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
Doesn't matter.
What do you think, David? Okay. We'll
In
send-
light of the fact that, Vermont's as screwed up as New Hampshire, probably more so. And assessors aren't easy to find. If we alienate and get rid of one that's doing an adequate job, we may be in much worse shape.
So
Mm.
how about we do a 3-year contract? We send it to legal, we'll get an escape clause in it. And the other thing is either not next year, which is 24, but 25 or 26 will be another reval.
Right,
We may, or sooner, we
Or
may be
sooner.
doing a reval. According to Rusty, we're overdue for a reval already.
Yeah,
We can trust their numbers like but
Well,
we should
that will
ask,
become your equalization ratio and your COD and all that will be coming. It doesn't usually come out till January or February, but
when we
I
get
suspect it will show that you may be able to
squeaked
think
by
about
one more
it
year.
in 2025 instead of 26, but you also don't know what the market's gonna do, so.
So, but just be cognizant of if we have a 3-year contract, we probably have the assessor who's gonna do the reval. And whenever that happens, he's on board.
Yeah.
And we can do it without.
Yeah.
So that's
another-
not a separate agreement, the reval.
It would be a separate agreement and we would put it out to bid. It doesn't mean that he wouldn't be the only one bidding on it. I suspect he would be the only one bidding on it, but people don't usually jump around
That would be hard to
to
do.
do
a
that because you
reval.
don't know,
You don't know the
right?
town.
You don't know the town, you don't know the info, you don't know anything.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
You have
Um,
James on now.
Oh,
yeah, he just got his hair real
I
fast.
guess Jim didn't fill him in.
relay the message.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've awarded the assessing contract.
And
Good
James,
morning.
with apologies, we didn't get to we didn't have time since last week to review the CPCFC,
CPCNH.
CPCNH, agreement, so we're pushing it off another week. We promise we'll get to it, by Thursday next.
Okay, so you guys are gonna meet again, next Thursday?
Yes.
Yes,
All
Sorry
right,
about
we're very sorry.
okay,
Time crunch.
It's my
yeah,
fault.
it is busy. All right,
Yeah.
thanks. I'm gonna check out then. Thanks,
Okay, yeah, bye-bye.
bye.
Can't imagine why he doesn't want to hang out.
I can't either. We have
Jeez,
so much fun. We've got, Mr. Brown setting up. As soon as that's done, we can go to public comments.
Your alarm didn't go off this one.
Oh, I just have had more fun than people should be allowed to have. It's nothing bad, it's just, you know, people stop by and ask you questions that mean, you know, when your contractor says, can I show you something?
Oh, yeah, you
Oh,
need
yeah.
to go.
Yes, so it's all good. It's just,
Okay. Okay. We will go. It is 9:01 according to Apple time. And
Apple time.
we are open for public comments. And we have Mr. Brown with us. And James was here, but he's left. And Jim Norse was here, but he's left.
I actually do not have any comments today.
Okay. So, moving right
Gonna
along.
have to send that contractor after you more often.
All right. Holy crappy-oli. Let's do the approval of the October 19, 2023 public session minutes.
I'll move them.
I'll second.
Thank you, David, thank you, Ben. Do we have any changes, additions,
have anything.
deletions? You didn't,
Super duper.
Ben, anything? All those in favor say aye.
Then I,
David, on.
And Judy, aye. 1019. Okay, those are approved. And that means. Sorry, it just takes me a minute to make notes. Such as they are.
Good.
You know, the great
Yes.
packet, thank you.
The what
Very-
packet?
The packet, very helpful.
Okay. Not as helpful for you, because it's confusing me, but I told you, my brain is not recovered from last night
So,
at
oh,
all.
so the questions that we had earlier about the town and school, this sheet lays out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not updated correctly, so
Okay.
never mind, you'll get a new one.
And as Mr. Brown was coming in, I think we did hire the assessor. We're going to send the contract to our attorney to draw up one that has all of the things in it that we need, which includes an escape clause, and we will be doing either a 2 or 3 year multi-year contract. But we can opt out of it. And
Could you say that last bit again, hiring the contractor,
we hired the assessor,
and then it's.
and then we're gonna send the contract. There's a contract attached here, but we're gonna send it to our legal,
Yes,
have them draw up a contract. And it will include an escape clause. It will be either a 2 year or 3 year.
So really, we're not hiring the assessor yet because we're not
We don't
hiring him
have-
until you have a contract.
You have decided to offer him a contract.
That's right, that's the.
Very good,
Correct.
yes.
and that would be either a 2 or 3 year contract.
Right.
Right.
Thank
And it also will go to the DRA. I forgot to mention that. They have to approve it too.
Okay.
Excuse me, sorry, I need a.
Okay,
The contract I really didn't like was with the bridge engineer.
oh. Oh, the Lyme Thetford Bridge,
No,
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 our cover for it.
oh, the covered bridge.
yeah. That is affirmatively an obnoxious contract.
Okay.
For example, it says that no matter what he does wrong, even if it's intentional malfeasance or negligence, that our ability to make a damages claim against him is limited to what we've paid him.
Aha.
So if he decides he doesn't like the bridge
And he knocks
and
it down.
deliberately structures it to go into the river, and we've paid him $1,000, that's
That's what we get back.
and I think that's obnoxious.
Okay.
That's not, I wouldn't,
You don't like
I'm
that.
not in favor of
Okay.
agreeing to that.
How do you really feel about that, David? Okay, I also wanted to update, Mr. Brown, we did the tax rate that we received from the state was $26.20 per thousand,
26.
which is a 9-something% increase, and we voted to draw that down by applying $350,000 from our fund balance, which means it will be a rate of $25.35, which is a 5.71 increase from this year.
Oh, okay.
Worth noting in that context that last year, the tax rate decreased by 9.7%, something like that. So even if we did nothing, if you look at it over a 2-year period, it's essentially a flat tax rate. Still, we thought the uptick of 9% was a little bit high, and so we wanted to buy it down and get it under 6%.
Thank you for updating me there.
You're welcome. Okay. We have a bullet that talks about, discussing capital review funding schedule for the highway trucks.
Yeah, I don't have a schedule per se for you, but I have some numbers.
Okay, so presently they are on a 12-year replacement schedule,
These are the 550s that we're talking about, and they're on a 10-year.
10-year schedule, okay.
And Scott has requested that they be changed to a 7-year.
Mhm.
There's that. Will you pass one to Dave, those two to David?
Yep.
So Jordan took the 2011 F-550, which is the first one on the top there, and went back and tracked everything.
Oh, all the
And
repairs and whatnot.
Yep, so if you go from the 6-year out, he wants it
Every
7 years. Then he can purchase a warranty that covers 7 years. So in essence, 95% of these costs wouldn't be there. So the 2011 from the 7th year on has cost us $47,699 in repairs.
Well, wait a minute, it says total spent 56,000.
Yeah, but that's over the whole life of the truck.
Okay,
So I'm going from the 7th year till now.
okay,
Those are the additional ones that would,
so that's.
if we had a
12
warranty.
years.
If you had a warranty that covered the 7
It would
years,
save
you would have saved
48,000.
$48,000.
Well,
And
what
with
was the
the-
price of the warranty?
About, oh my God, he just told me that yesterday and I thought it's under $10,000.
Okay.
Okay,
And is that an annual or one time?
it's one time for 7 years.
It's a one-time fee you buy when you purchase the truck.
And then the next question is, of all these costs, which ones would be covered under the warranty?
90% of them. Other than the regular oil changes, which, well, they usually do those themselves, but, some tires, stuff like that. Well, that comes out of a different fund though.
So we have a lot of like, there's a dump body repair, a
Mm.
tailgate repair,
Yeah, I don't imagine body damage is going to be covered under the warranty.
Yeah, that would be a good question for Scott. But from what I understood, the ones that were included were ones that would be covered by this. Him and Scott and Jordan looked at this stuff together, so,
Because when you look at this, Dina,
but we
a
can
lot of the
confirm it.
bigger numbers are things like repair dump body, truck,
yeah.
dump body repair.
Well, like I said, Scott and Jordan looked at this, so you'd have to ask Scott to clarify. I can have him go through it and mark the ones that he absolutely knows would be part of the warranty. But it looks like that would be a smart move anyways.
Do you know why our former road agent was not interested in buying warranties?
No clue. I don't know.
Well, if we kept the trucks for 12 years, the warranty would have covered the 7 years.
Well, that's the big trucks, but 12 years is the big
I'm
truck.
sorry, I'm
That's
stuck
okay.
on that
I
number.
know.
10 years.
Yeah.
So there would have been 3 years that
Yeah.
it would have been out
Right.
anyway, but yeah, if in fact this is close to what we would have not had to spend if we had the warranty, we probably need to refine it a little bit. It would look like the warranty would pay for a bunch of stuff.
Well, it looks like it, but again, it would be a lot better for everybody looking at this
To get that refined.
Right,
Yep.
right.
It's kind of surprising, isn't it? Like, why would someone sell you a warranty for 10 grand that was gonna cover 50 grand worth of repairs?
Well,
Well, there's some on here that clearly aren't.
I suspect that
Easy
each
seal and.
truck also is different, we have one truck that every time you turn around, something's wrong with it. And then, I call it a lemon. I mean, the 2016 has been crazy.
And that's the
But-
one we have over here.
Mhm.
Well,
But either way,
We
I
should-
think Scott should take a little time and definitely research and make sure that the number is attributed to stuff that would be
Mhm.
covered by warranty.
Yeah.
And then it would be true and factual.
and that then would mean, so 10 years, so the 2011, we're still using that even though it's beyond the 10 years.
Mhm.
That due to be
It's,
bought this year.
No, actually, that one's gone. That
The
one's
11
gone.
is gone now.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, you'd almost go through and look at the ones that are from the Ford places. Because certainly the easy steel is right away at 7,000 or 8,000. And then there's Cohen, Sable and Son.
okay, so we'll do that.
All right,
I'll have
we'll
Scott.
refine that up. Okay, those numbers.
Yeah,
And certainly let them know that we appreciate that suggestion and are seriously considering it.
yeah, and I can run the capital reserve fund so you can see what it'll look like.
Yes.
Just, to be clear, his proposal is that we buy a warranty that covers the trucks for 7 years and only keep the trucks for 7 years thereafter.
Have them on a rotating schedule of 7 years, the 550s,
Yeah, just so.
and then
How
change
many of those are there?
three, because we have the one that we do the mag stuff with. And then the big trucks. Eventually, not right away, doesn't want to put too much out at once, but eventually the big trucks go from 12 to 10.
And that's just to shorten the time that we keep
Same.
them, but,
Same reason,
well,
it's sort of like at
is
the
there a
end.
warranty for 10 years or no?
Well, I don't know about that, but I just know that the trucks
They
end
get
up-
beat up.
end up getting very beat up and 12 years for a truck that's run, all the time, every day, plowed with hard, worked with hard, then you start having some pretty expensive repairs.
Yeah.
Towards the end of its life.
Plowing is tough on vehicles.
I also was gonna look, and I still will. I have no clue what other towns do, so I think it would be
That would be good.
beneficial
Well,
to look.
and, Mr. Malcolm would like that as well, probably. The budget
Also-
committee.
One other question about the 550 proposal, the proposal for the 550 trucks. Could you, maybe Scott has already done this, but could you ask him to confirm that he's checked that the warranty is applicable to vehicles that are being used commercially? Because a lot of times those extended warranties are not, they're designed for a residential use or something like
Yeah,
that, but if
It
you're
is,
using.
yeah. But I will make sure he double, triple checks that. Cause I know the guy we deal with is the guy that does only municipal stuff,
Okay.
where we purchase the truck, so, or not municipal stuff, business, commercial, thank you.
Anytime. Okay. Yeah. Oh, now comes the fun part. Do you know what time you have to leave? 10 o'clock?
No, I have a 10, 15-minute ride and I have to be there at 11, so,
10:30 at the
Mhm.
latest.
yeah.
Okay.
That's good, I gotta get out of here too.
Oh, good.
Okay, well, we need to save time for our non-public.
Right.
So let's do a short budget review with the acknowledgement that next Thursday we will most likely have a budget workshop, so we're prepared to present to the budget committee the following Wednesday.
Right.
Um,
And I
Yeah.
want you to save enough time to talk about the Edgeo Bridge too. I
um,
know it's not on there, but
it's not on here, so,
it should have been.
okay. Um. Okay,
But you don't have to act on it because you'll want to look at it.
Yeah, we
think
wanna
about it
look at the
anyways,
Edgeo
but I
Bridge,
can
but-
just give you a quick,
all right, let's, basically, the budget. Let me give you my thoughts on it. We can have sort of this global discussion and then we will delve into the areas that we're gonna cut or increase. I have been concerned over the last couple of years. We have really trimmed back, trying to hold down costs. I feel strongly that the core of what goes on in this town is supported by our staff, our workers. They work really hard. I think a 3% increase in their wages does not cover realistically the cost of living. We know that food costs went up 7%, other costs have gone up more than 3%. We've had a couple of department heads ask to be able to give their workers a 5% increase. I'd like to consider that. That will be, as you know, that will affect not just their salaries, but also their benefits. There were a couple of wish list items that went into this budget that I would propose maybe we take out. This is not the year to do that. And we may or may not be looking at, and we won't know probably till after the budget is pretty much finalized, whether or not we're gonna do a reval next year or in 25 or 26.
Right.
Not 24, so
Right.
that's a hanging out there as an unknown. And I had one other thing, but it's escaped my Swiss cheese brain.
you'll think of it as you go along.
Yeah, I will. But anyway, so, guys, if we want to run through this, or we can wait till next time, but I would welcome your thoughts and sort of a global discussion of where we are.
In terms of, increasing compensation for folks. I guess the first thing I wanna see is what that does to the numbers, you know, if you go from 3% to 4%, what does that do?
I think that
Those
Dina,
numbers are in that chart that I just gave you.
This one, Dina?
The budget, yes. Everybody's salary in there is calculated at a 5%. And as you know, I was running around like crazy, so I did not get a final. Let me look at this one thing. Let's see if I have.
Doesn't look like it does that.
Well, it does.
so
So if you go to line
59 total.
line 15 on the front, as you see, the administrators,
Oh, that's.
5%. Clerk, 5%.
So total operating budget with the 5% and as it was presented by the department requests would be a 6.6% increase.
Right.
So-
Wait, say that again, Judy?
The department requests, which this draft budget shows, plus including the 5% wage increase across the board, has an operating budget expense of 6.6%. It would be your last page 10. Total operating expense.
So what's the dollar value difference between a 3% and a 5% increase?
All right, so your total wages have gone down either way, 3% or 5%, because of the makeup of what employees you have now, and the amount their wages are. And it's calculated, some of the replacement people in departments are new, so they're getting paid less than experienced people. We have a retirement next year, so that makes a difference in the wage. So at a 3%, your total wages are down about $38,000,
At 3%.
lower than what it was this year. Yeah.
38,000, and what is the 5%? Did you calculate that?
The 5% comes, I'm showing 37,000, just under
just
37.
one.
Yeah, but I'm not, like I said, I threw that together. The final part is 20,
Really
so
fast.
I would need
Doesn't
to,
seem right.
it
right?
does not seem
It
right.
doesn't
That's
seem like
why I
it's
said,
calculating, but,
let me, but either way,
we can,
hang on.
between now and next Thursday,
Right.
well, hopefully before next Thursday, maybe
Right.
like on Tuesday, we can get all this draft stuff
Right.
out, so we have a chance to
Right.
really.
Yes, and your
Look at it.
personnel costs are increased by a little over $25,000.
Mhm. And that
And
has,
that's because of the change in insurance.
yeah,
Even though the percentage doesn't match the 15.6, because your employees changed, so did, whether it was a family plan or a single plan, and it changed enough to only increase it a couple percent.
that's nice.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't have any other really global discussions, but I'm gonna go home and mark this up.
mhm. Well, it needs to be double checked anyway.
Cut out the pennies here and there
I like
and
that.
see, if we can support that. Rich,
The information that the budget committee got last night, is that worth looking at for following along here? Is the information you're looking at substantially the same or not?
it's pretty much, I believe that Dina is still showing department requests,
Yes.
so the other numbers, the board does not have a select board line yet.
Right, but just so
Except-
you know, the one that I gave you guys.
Yep.
Even though it says department above it, I just filled in what you had asked me to put in.
Oh,
So
Okay.
that's why when you look at the bottom, it's the 6 point whatever. It
Okay,
has the 5% in there. It has,
oh,
because I had to do it quickly.
yes, I understand the
Okay,
5%, but
okay.
not, the other lines have not changed.
No,
That's,
No.
I think, was your question.
Thank you.
At least that was my answer.
That's,
Sorry.
that's, I mean, it's good enough to know it's close.
Yes.
And
Is the 5% number tied to anything?
I think it was, several department heads made that request. And actually, I felt comfortable at least looking at that number when I heard about the cost of food, which we all need. And we know that, I guess, oil and propane, gasoline, all of those costs continue to fluctuate pretty dramatically. So maybe the answer is not really. A 4% or I think 3% doesn't do it
That's what the 3%
for the,
is what the Northeast Region
Yeah.
CPI is showing.
yep.
I just worry a little bit if we're just decoupling it and going by the seat of our pants, you know?
I guess
mean, It's nice to be generous, but we're also struggling to keep
we are,
the tax rate down and the town
Mhm.
expense down. If we start raising it just because we think
well,
we want to be
it
more
wasn't
generous.
because
then-
I was trying to be more generous, but when I was reading all the financials that I've read, which I have to
Yeah,
let,
you get the lion's share of that, so.
you see the COLA and the CPI, but then in the same article, you see, here's this piece that's above it, here's this piece that's above it, and if
Well, what
all
are the
those
pieces
pieces
that are
are
below?
above it,
Yeah, I know, there has to be some averaging going on, so you'd have to look at what,
what was less.
yeah.
And
And if there are things that don't apply to town employees, then that bolsters your argument, but, okay.
I will try and continue to do more research, although I have to say it's tough reading for me. But doesn't mean I won't do it. You know, the day-to-day stuff. It's what hits everybody.
mhm.
It's not the one-time expenses or,
COLA comes in at 3.2%, it looks like.
Right.
Yep.
Cost of chicken's still up, you know, sorry.
focused on chicken. I'm
I'm-
gonna buy you
That's
some little
because it
chicks.
is the when we buy for the cafe, it's totally amazing. I don't know what they're doing to chickens nowadays to make them so expensive, but it's like
Well, wasn't there a big
3
giant,
times
there
more.
were a couple big chicken plants that got destroyed this last year, like fires or something.
Oh, I
I
didn't know anything
remember
about
reading in the
that,
news, like these big Purdue
Purdue,
plants
Every
right.
time we turn
that
around.
got
I'm like,
destroyed, so that's probably causing. The other thing I read that was completely out of whack was the cost of bacon had gone up
And
like
bacon, yeah.
10
Yeah.
times, some crazy number, and
Ham,
It's probably-
those are
it's-
ham
well, it's probably the-
distribution.
Processing of everything.
Oh, it
People
could
still
be.
can't hire people, you know, to do the work. It's crazy.
Well, who wants to work in one of those processing
Mm,
plants? Okay,
Not me, but thank goodness somebody
well,
does.
so we will hash this one out. Hopefully at our workshop. I mean, we can't punt this one anymore because,
No, you gotta do it. You gotta make a decision.
and I would like to, if Gina, I think you got this already maybe, but if we could get the total dollar delta between a 3% and a 5% increase, what
Yeah,
that does in terms of the cost to the town. I mean, if it's really $1,000,
I
then we
know.
already spent too
well, I
much
just
time
ran
talking
the
about it, but-
percentages and it's like a 3.7 as opposed to a 3.2 less. So I'm like,
okay.
but I
So
will
we've got our
definitely do that.
marching orders
I'll
there.
give you that last page that shows the.
Yeah, I don't
totals
want
of
the delta
everything.
from
Right.
last year. What I want is, if we increase it 3%
difference,
next year, what's it gonna cost? If we increase it 5% next year, what's it gonna cost? And what's the difference between those two numbers?
Okay. Yep,
Thank you.
Okay,
and you want the difference just in payroll.
No, payroll and benefits. I'm trying to figure out what, if we decide to go up to 5%, what's that cost the town
Okay.
next
I
year?
can tell you that. I would,
I'm
I would like to.
taking on the role of Scrooge McDuck here.
Well,
That's not being Scrooge, that's being thorough. It's okay, I think. But yeah, so this is. Yeah, okay, let me,
Alright,
like,
yeah.
just because I did this so last minute, let me,
yeah, take your time, we will do
and
it.
I'll get it out to you before.
Also,
Is,
Judy, just so I understand, if we increase wages, they're never going back down.
I would not think so.
No, so what, if
The
you do
only
a
time-
5% increase, but is there any other way that you might address sort of temporary inequities in the cost of chicken? Can we do a one-time bonus to
Thank you.
employees or something like that, that doesn't necessarily repeat every year, so that we're not saddling the town with that cost in perpetuity?
bonuses?
Why,
Because let them eat beans.
The town has never, ever, ever done bonuses.
Think we-
I don't mean that you, I don't know that you,
is there a reason we can't, or is it just?
I don't know. I don't know how you,
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I understand that, that would be, that would be nice, but,
Mhm.
and that would be cash in their pocket. And it wouldn't change the benefit line but it wouldn't change the retirement line. The only time we seem to ever really be able to save is if a senior employee leaves and you hire in a newbie who has less training or less skill. And they are less expensive, and then you can track back down, but, I personally don't believe I ever got a bonus,
Yeah,
although I think
right.
they're a great idea. It's sort of a nice little Christmas thing.
I don't know, just.
Well, and from an employee's point of view, I can tell you that. I always found it frustrating that it was a 3% raise across the board.
I know,
Or a
then
5%
it's like
raise
$30
across the
per
board.
paycheck or something.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking
just
about the
talking
amount,
about
I'm
it's not-
talking about. You have an employee that gives 150%, then they get 3%, and then you might have somebody who's,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
There are things that, when I worked at Colt, I generate like $250,000 cost savings
Right,
and get diddly. And the people that were getting the bonuses, all the upper echelon
Right.
got big fat bonuses for
Right.
the cost.
right,
So it's,
right.
there's
Well,
lots of
it's
inequity.
called worth ethic, and it's called a merit raise, and it's called that, and
And
we just don't do that
We
very
don't.
often.
I mean, we
do it
could
very
do
often.
merit bonuses, but that wasn't what I was proposing. I was
Right.
proposing sort of a flat bonus,
Right.
a flat amount, not really based on merit and not really, not really tracking the kind of qualities that
Right.
you're talking about here, but just to sort of help people deal with the fact that it's been a tumultuous year and that you're seeing in labor markets that there's people paying signing bonuses and,
Yeah.
the price of food has gone up by more than the cost of living has gone up. So, I
Right,
mean, maybe you give people a bonus based on a percentage of their salary, in addition to not saddling the town with that cost in perpetuity and just being a
Right.
one-year thing.
right,
It also means that the employee gets it in a lump sum as opposed to
Yeah.
getting, $37 more each paycheck for the next year,
Just
which,
kinda gives away.
kind of isn't. I mean, I maybe appreciate that, but we probably appreciate a $1,000, $1,200 check more than that. I don't
that's an
know.
interesting thought,
It is an
because it
interesting,
doesn't stay there in perpetuity.
Right.
And that's,
and then, this was a tough year.
and it's a thank you,
It
yeah,
is a thank you, and it might be more
Yeah.
appreciated than.
Thank you for not going to Home Depot and taking their, $1,700,
right,
$2,000, $2,500 signing
signing
bonus.
bonus,
Right,
and $25 an hour.
Can we just run that by whoever our legal counsel and make sure that we can do that it isn't a problem, or is?
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, just a thought.
I like that idea, I think, and the people I know who have gotten bonuses. Whether it was a regular year-end thing or it was a one-time thing, all seem to really appreciate it.
Mm.
I just never thought we could do it.
yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe we can't.
It's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know politically how people would receive that either, but
Politically meaning
the town,
the residents.
the residents, yeah.
Well,
But again,
Well, they can fire us all.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
I'm
It's
I'm fairly well
vacation time.
acclimatized.
Well, I
to
would
being
like to
tested,
think
so.
everybody would be supportive of it,
I
but
would think, well,
you never know.
you
It's their
know,
tax dollars
it's
too, you
their
know.
tax dollars.
That's right.
Well,
Okay.
but it's something we can present and defend. You know, it's not going on in perpetuity.
Well, and
It's a short term
also, if
based
it
on-
was this Christmas a bonus,
Mhm.
it would have to come out of any money that we'd already voted for this year.
Correct.
And then next year's budget wouldn't reflect a big jump in pay rates. So that might please people. I would guess that the people that don't like it, and the people that
Right.
do. That's gonna be kind of the way it goes, but I think it's worth further discussion
I
and,
don't see that as a political jeopardy.
I can't.
Again, I don't think the numbers are gonna be huge. You can generate them, but I don't believe they're gonna be huge.
Probably not.
Yeah, I can generate that if you tell me the percentage, so.
Okay,
All right,
but
but that'll be for a week from
Next.
today.
next week, yep. I believe we have come to the witching hour of,
Oh, do we want to talk about the Edgeo Bridge?
oh, Edgeo,
Before
I'm
you go
sorry.
into non-public real quick. So I sent you guys all this and I've had conversations back and forth with Mr. Grattan, no, it's Grattan, it's an A. Do that every time. And so,
Is it on or an ant?
it's an A, yeah, I know. Oh, God, grammar, here we go.
This
So.
is the engineer, Dina.
This is the, no, this is the bridge, repair company. 3G Construction. And our multiple conversations about repairing the bridge. And the fact that it is an emergency and needs to be addressed soon. We talked to the engineer that works with him, his company. Which is Ekman Engineering LLC.
Mhm.
And so they came up with a tentative estimate of, and I don't have that email, yes I do, 44,000, I think it was.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds right.
right, for the,
For
for
the,
that total engineering of the bridge. Now, the contract, I asked him to send us a detail of what it would be. That's what I sent you guys. So it goes on task 1, 2, 3, it goes through all the steps. And it's a pay-as-you-go
It's like a-
thing. When he completes one task, you pay for it. You don't have to pay for everything up front. So I just wanted everybody to know that number so that you could give, and what 3G Construction wants to do is start working on this so that they will be ready to take off in the spring with the construction of it. And not have to wait for all the engineering and all that stuff to be done. You have the authority to approve expenditures out of the Bridge Repair Capital Reserve Fund, which is where this would come from.
emergency repairs, yeah.
All right. I read through this agreement and the Ekman engineering agreement.
Yeah.
And the one part of it that I don't think I'm comfortable signing off on is this section that says risk allocation. And what that essentially does is it says that the engineering company's liability in all cases is limited to what we paid them. So even as I read this, even in the case of deliberate malfeasance on their part or gross negligence on their part, they would have no liability to us except what we paid them. I don't see how we could sign that.
Right.
That's obnoxious in my.
Well, this has to go to Naomi first anyways, and
Okay.
it has not gone there. And I know that actual thing has been in a previous contract and she has said, no way.
You can't sign
And so
that.
she changes
I mean,
things.
what this says is, if the guy says, you know, I really don't like those guys in Lyme, I'm gonna burn down the damn bridge and lights it on fire, our liability is what we paid him,
Right.
That's insane.
I think today I was looking for your support on and or a vote to expend some money eventually, so that we can move ahead and do this. Support to move ahead and do this.
I move, we, vote to expend the money for the engineering pending, Naomi's, reading of the
Revised
contract
contract.
and David's concerns.
Okay,
Yep, I'll buy that.
Okay, so you second that, David? Okay, all those in favor of forwarding this contract to Naomi to revise and spending the 44,000
And I,
on approval after revision, and Judy, I.
And this risk allocation is the kind of stuff that sneaky lawyers throw into contracts when they don't think another lawyer is gonna read it.
That's why you're here.
I know. I may have been guilty of.
You might have done it once or twice.
well, I know one thing after all the years I've worked here, I'd never bring a contract to this board without having Naomi or Laura or somebody read it.
Yep. Okay, so. Now
Okay, thank you.
you are welcome.
I don't want that bridge to cave in.
No, we
For
don't.
sure.
All
I
right,
don't think
that will
anybody.
go out, and then I do believe it is time, we've got about 20 minutes to do a couple non-public sessions.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn this off, leave the meeting.
Yep,
You'll probably ask me to leave.
we will.
Will you be reconvening after?
We always reconvene just to end the meeting, but
Yes.
usually we don't
We
have any.
don't